Hi, you're listening to the Hippie
Powered
Martha
by
Hormone
Riverside
Hour.
FM.
I'm Ashley, your host and creator of the Hippie Martha, a business that supports women's health and everything else that comes along with it. In each episode, I'll provide you with bite-sized information that will give you a better understanding of your body and hormones in ways you probably wish you would have learned sooner. We'll dive into natural remedies, holistic health, and evidence-based care. I'm here to empower you to take charge of your health with knowledge. So let's get started. Hey, welcome back. This is Ashley from the Hippie Martha Hormone Hour, and today we are going to be talking about fertility awareness and cycle charting 101. Now, if you have been following me for a while, you know that charting my own cycles has been super insightful. It has helped me heal through PCOS, endometriosis, histamine intolerance, perimenopause. It's gotten me through a lot and is still getting me through it just by connecting and understanding my cycles. So today we're going to talk just about the basics, and actually in about 2 or 3 weeks I'm going to be hosting a course just on how to start charting your cycles. The bare minimum. This is not to introduce you to the full gamut of what I teach, but just a little insight and to get you going on how to chart your cycles with a fertility awareness-based method that is a single check sympto-thermal method. So today what I want to discuss is kind of what is fertility awareness, who is it for, what is it used for, why and how it works, and kind of just go over cycle mapping in general and how we can use it effectively to gain more insight into our health. As usual, I'm putting the disclaimer out that this is not medical advice, my friends. This is me, who is an RN, a certified fertility awareness educator, who empowers you to make your own decisions about your own health. So I'm not going to give you direct medical advice. And I also want to let you know that the method of fertility awareness that I teach is user dependent. It is not for everyone. If you're looking for a way to avoid getting pregnant and do not want any part of knowing how your body works, then this is not going to be for you. But if you are wanting to become more a part of your own body, your body literacy, if you want to understand why things are happening or how they're happening, or just understand more about the way your body functions, this is going to be for you. So keep listening. Typically, starting out, if you think of an iceberg, you've always hear this, the tip of the iceberg, right? What you're taught about your body is that little tip that's floating on top. And what fertility awareness can teach you about your body is what's underneath the water. Fertility awareness is truly a self-care practice for self-awareness. And this goes for anyone. That means our pubescent teens, your maybe trying to conceive people, your postpartum, or your perimenopause. This is for everyone. It is truly not just meant for having a baby and to know where your fertility is. Fertility awareness also is an assessment of health prior to and achieving pregnancy. So we can gain a lot of insight just from looking at our charts with a basal body temperature and charting symptoms of fertility and using that information to kind of give us a big picture of what's happening. Third, fertility awareness is definitely a lifestyle choice for natural contraception. This is a chosen thing. You have to want to do it. It should not be a chore or a task or something to add in. This is kind of a lifestyle that you are integrating into your life, your everyday living. It's just like brushing your teeth. I promise you it will be eventually, but there is a learning curve. Finally, fertility awareness helps to gauge our health, and it can help us actually work with medical providers if we are seeing, low basal body temperatures, if we're seeing signs or symptoms of, heavy bleeding, estrogen dominance, gut dysbiosis. All of those things can be found on a fertility awareness chart. Now, I literally could tell you all the reasons why you should chart your cycles, and I actually do in one of my posts, but I think it has to be something that you want to do, that you want to learn. It's like an earned privilege of understanding what is going on, and it applies to every single person who is cycling with a womb, as well as those who may not be cycling. You can still connect to your rhythm, to your power of your cycle through mapping out your cycles. You also get to become experts of your own body. And a lot of times, being a nurse, I have seen so many people rely on physicians telling you about your body when in dismissing you, right? I've been dismissed so many times when I really should have just trusted my own intuition and really found someone that can listen to me. And so fertility awareness can really bridge that gap because we can collect our own data and we can look and reference back to it and say, this is what was going on. Or, no, I noticed something here. I noticed something isn't right. Maybe I should have a second opinion, or maybe someone else should look at this for me. So, other reasons why we should chart our cycles is that we can really learn a lot and we can save a lot of money just by paying attention to our body. So by that, I mean we can predict our own periods. We can use it as a natural pregnancy test instead of taking a million different pregnancy tests, right? And spending all that money. We can use it as a confirmation into knowing if we ovulated or not. And we can really identify stressors that are affecting our overall metabolic system. Because if we aren't getting a cycle, or we aren't having a period, or we aren't ovulating, that's a clear indicator that our body is not working at its optimum. And what's really cool is we can find signs of pathology on a chart, on a cycle chart, through mapping out symptoms and basal body temperature. So some signs that could potentially be found on charts include hypothyroidism, progesterone deficiency, early perimenopause, PCOS, endometriosis, abnormal bleeding, low estrogen levels, high FSH, adrenal fatigue, inflammation. There's so many different things that, especially if you're working with a fertility awareness educator, you might not be able to identify them on your chart, but I guarantee you a good educator who is certified and had good training is going to be able to pick some of these things out for you and help you to get continued care, whether they can do it or they can refer you out. This is really, really going to make a difference in the type of care you are receiving. So, like I said, learning how to chart your cycles is truly a habit and a practice that you have to want to do. When you go through the initial training and the process and the education, it might be a little overwhelming and you might be like, oh my gosh, I did not know any of this. Or you might be like, yeah, I recognize this from here. Or I remember reading something about that from there. But the key is you really want to make it a sustainable practice for you. The goal is to make sure you're making observations about your body, that you're taking a basal body temperature every morning within a minute of waking at the same spot under your tongue within a half hour every day. Now, that can seem like a lot, and there are a lot of ways to overcome this or to learn this routine. And I give a bunch of tips in my courses. And the other thing is you really want to pay attention to your cervical fluid. And when I talk about cervical fluid, yes, this is what most people will call mucus. I call it fluid. It is literally fluid being made from the cervical crypts in the cervix, and it is produced when estrogen is high or estrogen is present in the body. And so when estrogen is present, that is a sign of fertility. And if we're checking for cervical fluid at least 3 times throughout the day when you use the bathroom, we can look for signs of fertility. If cervical fluid is present, it doesn't matter what kind of cervical fluid, but if it is present and you are within the window of your fertile time where estrogen is dominant and present in wanting to release an egg, then you are considered fertile. And this is a time where you would either want to go on and procreate, or maybe you don't. And this is a great time to refrain from that. Either way, making observations and marking these observations down on your chart and then looking back is going to help you understand not only what is happening in your body, but it's going to help you identify if ovulation is occurring, if your hormone levels are strong and balanced, and it really is going to provide you with a good baseline of what is going on metabolically in your body. So if you are ready to kind of learn more, I have a Fertility Awareness and Cycle Charting 101 coming up on June 10th, and this is going to be live. Now, I do have a recording on my website if you want to just get started, feel free. But I really enjoy teaching live classes because we really get some really good Q&As at the end. And it really helps to kind of understand people's thoughts about it. Some, if you haven't been taught this before, it can kind of be very eye-opening. And so live, it's just so much better, and you can ask in the moment questions, as well as, if something is coming up for you that you're maybe feeling uncomfortable about, you can go ahead and just write it down, ask the questions, and we can go over it there and kind of address it at that time. So if you're interested, I will leave the link below, and I hope you are able to make it and are able to just kind of really enjoy the way that fertility awareness can help you understand the facts, the method, your body, and how to support it and make wise choices for yourself.